Thank you. This concludes our Black History Month flag raising ceremony. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Hey St. Pete, I'm Amber Bolding, your Emergency Management Manager, here to explain the difference between floodplains, FEMA flood zones, and evacuation zones. Understanding these terms is key to protecting your safety and property. First up, stormwater floodplain. This is where water naturally collects during heavy rainfall due to the terrain and our stormwater infrastructure system. If you're in a stormwater floodplain, your property may be at greater risk of flooding from heavy rain. Next, FEMA flood zones. FEMA identifies these areas based on flood risk from storm surge or proximity to water. This affects flood insurance requirements and building regulations. Finally, evacuation zones. Set by Pinellas County, these zones indicate areas at risk from dangerous storm surge during hurricanes or tropical storms. An evacuation order means you must leave. This is about protecting lives from potentially deadly storm surge. Pro tip, being in a non-evacuation zone doesn't mean you're in a non-flood zone or outside the stormwater floodplain. Heavy rainfall can still cause freshwater flooding. In St. Pete, you need to know your zones. Visit stpete.org/hurricane and use the Prepare St. Pete map. Just enter any address or click a location on the map to see its stormwater floodplain, FEMA flood zone, and evacuation zone. Understanding these differences helps protect you, your family, and your property. Stay informed by following us at St. Pete FL before, during, and after storms. Stay safe, St. Pete.
Today, we had our Contracts and Contacts bus tour in partnership with PSTA and several other businesses and agencies in our area. While the city definitely has tons of opportunities for our small minority women-based businesses, it's no guarantee that you can get on a contract here or there. So they need to know about all the different opportunities that are available to them in our areas.
We want to invest into our community. So for us to educate them and them educate us, it's a win-win for both of us. We also find that the community, when they can actually put their stamp on a project and say, I was part of that, it's just a wonderful sense of accomplishment.
There is lots of opportunity out there, not just within the city, but around the city, in the county even, for them to get work and do work right here locally, close to them. We just want to make sure we have the engagement and increase the likelihood of small businesses being able to participate.
In order for us to help them, we provide ways in which we can just put the word out there of the work that they do, so that way they can be contracted and win these projects. It's easy to say, oh, that's a $200 million project, and they're not gonna look at me. Well, you know what? They're looking for small businesses.
We did a lot of networking on each of the buses between the different groups, and there was a lot of really, really good conversation I heard being had. People kind of saying like, oh, I could use you on this project, and I'm working on a project that I need this type of work on. And so those connections were going on, you know, even as we were riding the bus to the different stops.
It's a benefit to both the city and to us as business owners to come together, to network. After all, we live here, and so what better way to come together and make the city better than to use our talents and our skills and our expertise to make a positive difference.
It's been really exciting to see this program develop. We've been registered as a small business with the city for several years now. I'm really excited that they have expressed that commitment to encouraging small businesses like mine.
I think that it says that this city cares about its businesses and its minorities within the city.
For me, I feel like this is huge because a lot of times we hear people talk, but there's little action behind it. So this is a place where the talk and the actions align, where we see a real commitment from the city to increase the number of diverse suppliers and to create a pathway to allow us access to those opportunities.
We do plan on having a lot more creative, new types of events coming out of our office. So we're just looking forward to offer our business community something different and something that they can hopefully make new connections with.
You know, the other day I was down close to the ballpark and I stopped at a fountain to get a drink, and a woman came up to me and said, you know, that's really the fountain of youth. You're going to turn younger. Do you have any idea what she was talking about?
Do you feel younger?
I do.
Good, it must have worked then. Our first tourist attraction here in St. Petersburg. You know, what allegedly Juan Ponce de Leon came looking for, we have here in St. Pete. A gentleman by the name of Edwin Tomlinson came to St. Petersburg and purchased a tremendous amount of land and owned actually land from 4th Street all the way down to the water, kind of where the Mahaffey Alang is today. He decided one day to do some drilling because he saw a natural well and he hit it, I guess it was an artisan well. And when the water came onto shore, I think the people in St. Petersburg were going to run him out of town because it smelled really bad. It was, I think, the story I read, someone equated to a dozen raw eggs being broken open in an August afternoon in Florida set on the sidewalk. I don't know who was brave enough, but someone drank it. They tasted the water and they actually felt pretty good, and it made them feel good. And before you know it, word got out. St. Pete had this reputation of being the healthiest city in the, in the nation. People were coming and filling their water jugs and drinking the water, and everybody was feeling great. And then someone finally had to test the water, and they did, and had an unbelievable amount of lithium in it.
Oh my gosh! So
what does lithium do?
That would calm you down.
Happy water, right? So of course it was, the fountain of youth. Everybody was drinking, and they were happy, and they were great. So finally it got shut down and capped, and regular potable water came through.
Why are we drinking beer? We should have.
We should have the water from the fountain of youth. It made everybody younger again.
We have a plan, Housing Opportunities for All, that shoots for 9,000 units by 2030, and we are making progress every day. We've got investment and plans going forward to try to meet that goal.
We have a brand new building that's been designed to be used as a laboratory, but it was also designed to withstand hurricanes.
So before we moved in, we actually did a tour, and just seeing their expressions on their face was priceless. And they couldn't believe that this is our building.
Selfishly, I'm thrilled we get to enjoy this here in District 1 on a daily basis. Thank you for joining us on one more piece of art that makes St. Petersburg a beautiful place to live.
What do you see? What do you notice? A shell. A shell?
One, two, three. Yeah!
Across St. Petersburg, progress is happening. This is what it looks like.
Hi, I'm Andre Allen, Stormwater Foreperson for the City of St. Pete. I'm here to talk about sandbags. First important thing you need to know about sandbags, we have them year-round. We distribute sandbags every second Saturday of the month. You can get sandbags at our complex, 1744 9th Avenue North. The best way to use the sandbags is to get some visqueen or a heavy plastic, tarp, and lay it down like in an L shape from the ground up against your door garage, and stack your sandbags just like you're stacking bricks right in front of your doors. If you didn't have no flooding in your area and no flood water touching your sandbags, you should store them in a safe area just in case another storm comes through. If flood water touch your sandbags, we recommend you take it to Pinellas County Dump. For more information, you can follow us on social media at St. Pete FL.
I think a trailblazer is a person who looks at the needs of now without high regard for the status quo or the way we've always done things, but focuses their work on how you make our community better today and for generations to come. None of us stand on our own, and so in order for me to be elected mayor, there were so many folks in generations before me that had to fight even for the right to vote, or even for the right to be a full-fledged police officer like Leon Jackson. I just looked at myself as the next in a line of folks who are working to move our community forward. Without the Leon Jacksons of the world, I certainly wouldn't be in this position. And without guys like Bob Stewart, former city council member and county commissioner, who's one of my mentors, who served with both me and my father, you know, without those folks also pushing, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, I attended the last segregated class at Melrose as a kindergarten student, that I'm able to go back to that and talk to those students as the 54th mayor of our city. That's a lot for one lifetime. As I go around the classroom, I do this for Great American Teach-In, and ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the last time I went, there were 3 kids that said, you know, I want to be mayor, and one young lady who said she wanted to be president. That's what it's all about. It's just making sure kids understand you really can achieve. Progress doesn't happen without someone who challenges the status quo, the powers that be, and speaks up for folks who are largely silenced. There is such a thing as a silent majority, folks who are too busy putting food on the table, taking care of their kids or their parents, to be involved in the political arena. And so the folks that do that represent a lot of folks who can't be engaged. Find someone, reach out to someone that you admire who's made it, and reach out to them. Email, Facebook. I guarantee a lot of folks will actually respond to that. I certainly will if someone's interested in elective office. Reach out, make that first step. Never be bound by the status quo or someone else's opinion of what you can or cannot do.
My name is Chan Srinivasa, and I'm the first African American city clerk for the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. To me, a trailblazer is someone who sets out on a journey to accomplish something. An individual who sees a path or has a path, and even though obstacles may be in their way, they find ways to get beyond those to reach their goal. To me, that's a trailblazer. I began my career 24 years ago on January 26, 1998. It was a cold, rainy day. I started in the Parks and Recreation Department as a temporary employee on the waterfront, cutting grass and maintaining our parks. Throughout there, I developed as an individual, as a person, but also as an employee of the city of St. Petersburg. And from there, in 2014, I was appointed as the city clerk for the city of St. Petersburg. The city clerk is a very responsible role. Not only are we responsible for the legislative issues of city council, but also our city elections. If you look at the history of how elections are, and being the first African American to hold the role of city clerk in conducting our elections in the city of St. Petersburg, it's a significant role because that within itself is literally setting some type of trail for others to follow as well. It dawned on me the day that I got appointed that I'm the first. And being the first, you always want to be the best at what it is that you do. Failure is never an option for me. If obstacles come, you strategize and you adapt and you go beyond them. Personally, my grandfather, a gentleman by the name of Josh Stanford, the greatest influence in my life. Professionally, there were two individuals, Thomas Jet Jackson and Clarence Scott. Jet taught me the importance of community and showing compassion towards people and always making your presence known. Clarence taught me the significance of being not necessarily a perfectionist, but doing your best and also reaching back, helping others, and never forgetting where you came from. St. Pete is progressing, and we're becoming a more diverse and inclusive community. And it says a lot about the character of the people of the city of St. Petersburg, that we look beyond someone's skin color, but we look at the content of their character. To me, that's what it says.
PCCA, Gibbs High, was high school that was invented because initially black people didn't go much beyond the 6th or 7th grade. And they created it. And then they put this performing arts magnet there. And I remember the first time I went there, just the art in the hallways that was from students, very sophisticated. And I thought, who wouldn't want a job there? Teaching motivated, talented young people. And obviously you were called because you taught. How long did you teach at Gibbs?
I believe I taught for 9 years, 8 or 9 years. Yeah, a long time. I think teaching at PCCA for those years made me a better artist. Mm-hmm. Working with young artists and inspiring young artists. But beyond the inspiration, teaching them how to coexist as artists in the community. They did not seek artists who were teachers. First, you didn't have to have a teaching degree to work in the magnet.
I didn't know that.
No, they wanted you to be an artist first. So you came with your artist degree or your art, and then from there, once you were inside, because I didn't have a teaching degree, once you were inside, once you got hired, then they put you through, Pinellas County School District has a phenomenal program so that you could get your teaching license. They wanted all of their educators to be working in the community so that their students had the opportunity to network and with the community members so that it strengthens the school and it also strengthens the community. And I think that was very important. I think it's a pivotal part of the program. I think it's a thing that makes it successful. And then not just the community as in St. Pete or the Southeast region, but our national community too. Because so many of our artists, visual and performing artists, have gone on to do great things. Broadway, LA, and beyond, tours, all those things, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And welcome to Skyway Lofts, formerly 65 units, now 131 affordable housing units for our city's hardest working families. My name's Scott McDonald, the principal with Blue Sky Communities, and I want to welcome everyone here today. I'd like to start off by recognizing the dignitaries that are with us. Mayor Kenneth Welch. Council Chair Lizette Hanowitz. Councilman Mike Harding. And County Commissioner Renee Flowers. Is there anyone I missed? Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to invite our Vice President of Asset Management, Brad Bartlett, up, who's a veteran of the Army National Guard, to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brad, thank you so much. The Skyway Loft sits in the Skyway Marina District, and I want to take a second and talk a little bit about the district before we get going. I think this area represents what can happen when state and county and city and local interest groups come together to really revitalize an area. Over the last 5 years since we first put a shovel in the ground across the street at Skyway Lofts, the changes have been incredible. Thousands of units, improved transportation, commercial, like Zaxby's, a Starbucks, and a Sprouts Market. It's extremely exciting what's happened here. But I think what I'm most excited about is with all this growth, through the hard work of many people in this room, we've been able to preserve affordability in the Skyway Marina District, and that's something we should all be proud of. And that's growth that's hopefully going to continue to happen, but the affordability will not be pushed out. The land under all three of these buildings will be affordable in perpetuity, and that's extremely exciting. The team that came together to make Skyway Lofts occur is truly a public-private partnership, all the way from the federal level down to the city level, and there's a lot of people in this room without whom that could not have happened, and I want to thank them. St. Pete was really at the forefront of setting aside ARPA dollars to go towards affordable housing, almost $50 million, in fact. And Blue Sky was fortunate enough to be entrusted with 2 awards. The first was for Bear Creek Commons that we opened last year, and here at Skyway Lofts Phase 2. I want to take a second and just thank the City of St. Pete and the staff, Rob Gertis, Amy Foster, Mark Van Loo, Avery Sliker, I think I saw, and the whole staff. The administration of federal funds and state funds that they take care of is a huge responsibility, and getting those dollars out the door to make sure that they go to work for the citizens of St. Petersburg. So I want to thank them so much for everything they do. And with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mayor Ken Welch.
Thank you, Scott. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
What a fantastic day, and I'm so honored to be here. We prepare to cut the ribbon on 66 additional new affordable homes right here in St. Petersburg. Now, as Scott said, it wasn't that long ago when we cut the ribbon for Skyway Lofts 1, and although I live in the neighborhood, I literally live 3 stop signs away. And although I lost my shortcut to Dunkin' Donuts, I was upset about that. But we were so excited to partner with Blue Sky and all the other partners to make this a reality. And as we finished Skyway Lofts 1, we looked out at what was then a vacant lot, or used to be a Ponderosa here back in the day, right, Commissioner? But we looked at this and we said, can we? And the answer is yes, we can, and yes, we did. Today we celebrate the completion of Skyway Lofts 2. And this is an important moment for our city. As Scott said, it reflects the power of partnership and vision and intentional focus on the critical issue of truly affordable housing. As part of our city's Housing Opportunities for All program, the City of St. Petersburg is proud to invest $6.5 million to help turn this vision into a reality, and as Scott said, in perpetuity. I want to thank our council for your strong partnership. Thank you, Scott, for recognizing the best housing team in the business in our St. Pete housing staff. Y'all stand up. I want to identify you. Doctor, get up. I know you hate it. Where's Amy? Well, since you didn't stand, I have to call you out, Administrator Foster, as well. They just do such innovative work, and they're always focused on the goal. These 66 homes will serve residents, and you've got some information in your handouts. For residents earning between 22% and 80% of area median income. That is folks making $6.50 an hour up to $22 an hour. So that is real affordable housing right here in the midst of all this market rate development that we're seeing and proud to have. That means working families, seniors, and individuals who are essential to the strength and vibrancy of our community. Skyway Lofts 2 was thoughtfully designed to meet real needs. These homes are both beautiful and functional. That's why I love working with Blue Sky. These homes are supported by amenities that truly enhance the quality of life, an outdoor play area, a library, and computer space, a fitness center, and bike parking. And the fact that this community is already at full occupancy shows how critical investments like this are and will continue to be. Across our city and county, we're seeing impactful housing projects take shape, and one thing they all have in common is partnership, and I want to end on this. Skyway Lofts 2 is no exception. I want to thank Blue Sky Communities, the Pinellas County Housing Finance Authority, TD Bank, the Pinellas County Commission, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, Raymond James Affordable Housing, and everyone who played a role in bringing this almost $25 million development to life. And so today we celebrate real progress, and tomorrow we will keep moving forward. And to the Skyway Lofts 2 residents, welcome to your new home. We are St. Pete. God bless you.
Mayor, thank you so much for being here and being at phase 1 as well. So,
I noticed you still have all your hair and no gray hair. I need your help.
if you look closely, there's a couple gray hairs that come in with every one of these projects. Before we move on to our next speaker, I want to take a second and acknowledge some of the private funders in the room that the mayor just mentioned. One of Blue Sky's core values is stewardship of public dollars, and we hold that near and dear to our hearts. And one of the ways that we do that is to leverage the public dollars that go into these communities with as many private ones as possible to extend how far those dollars go. Raymond James Affordable Housing Investments was responsible for purchasing the low-income housing tax credits that funded this property. Raymond James, obviously based here in St. Petersburg, they actually are officed in the same complex we are, and they are one of our most valued relationships. I was totaling it up, and we have now invested over $500 million together in affordable housing across the state of Florida. So, thank you. TD Bank was the investor through Raymond James, and they also provided the construction loan for Skyway Lofts 2. And Raymond James Bank, another local institution, will provide the permanent loan that will remain with the property for the next 15 years. So thank you very much. Next up, we have newly elected Chair Hanowitz. And before I bring her up, I just want to thank her for the time she spent with me and the interest that she has shown in learning more about affordable housing so we can make a difference in this city.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is such a wonderful day today. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. And I must also thank my colleagues who are also the reason why you're here, because it doesn't just take one vote to make this happen. It takes a majority, and this was unanimous. And that is a testament to the work that Blue Sky Communities does in our community. The ribbon cutting, by the way, that was mentioned earlier was one of my first ones as a city council member for Sky Lofts. And this is one of the first ones I have as a city council chair. So it's especially meaningful to me. And I can't believe how lucky we are to have Blue Sky Communities in our community doing this meaningful work. It is a full circle moment and a reminder that progress happens in phases. And today's ribbon cutting marks a very special phase, one that brings people home. And as been mentioned before, we have 60 new affordable homes. That adds a total of 131 affordable units in the Skyway Marina District, which has changed drastically since I first came to the first ribbon cutting. Just like was mentioned, these homes are reserved for households earning less than 80% or less of the area median income and will remain affordable for perpetuity. And I have to emphasize that, perpetuity. It means forever, a very long time. That permanence matters because public dollars are best invested in solutions that are built to last. So I'm very proud that the city of St. Petersburg stewarded $6.5 million of ARPA funds alongside with Pinellas County's $3.4 million in investment to bolster significant private and nonprofit financing of this $22.9 million project. Because when public, private, and nonprofit partners align around shared goals, we can actually deliver real outcomes. I want to thank Blue Sky Communities, the Pinellas County Commission, Pinellas County Housing Financing Authority, TD Bank, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, and Raymond James for your partnership and dedication in bringing this project to life. We may be celebrating a building, but at the end of the day, this is about people, and it's about ensuring that individuals and families can afford to live in what they call their community. And this city, St. Petersburg, it's about creating stable housing to support stable lives. So congratulations to everyone that made this project a reality, and to the St. Petersburg residents who are going to call this their home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to take a second and talk a little bit about the team that came together to make this community a reality. Teamwork is another core value at Blue Sky, and that means not only our team within Blue Sky, but also the external partners that we work with. So the ones that came together for this property was civil engineer High Point Engineering. The architect was Place Architecture and Tim Clemens from St. Petersburg. General contractor Park and Eliezer. Landscape architect Dark Moss. And our sister company Carteret Property Management, who will really keep these buildings community assets for hopefully as long as Blue Sky owns them. And we have the utmost confidence that they will, because they have on every building that they've done that with in the city of St. Petersburg, and we're so thankful to call them our partners. And last but not least, I want to take a second and recognize the Blue Sky team. There's about 20 of us, and every single one of them has a hand in every project that we do, and it's truly an honor of mine to work beside you every day to create assets such as this. Before I introduce our last speaker, I just want to talk about Pinellas County a little bit further. As both the mayor and Chair Hanowitz stated, they invested $3.4 million of penny funds in Skyway Lofts 2. That came in the form of $1.4 million for vertical costs and construction costs here, and $2 million for the purchase of the land underneath this building. And I want to take a second and thank the staff at Pinellas County, Bruce Bussey, Stephanie Raymond, and Sherry Harris that administered those vertical funds, and Catherine Driver with the Pinellas County HFA, who administered the funds to purchase the land here. And with that, I would like to introduce Commissioner Renee Flowers.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not going to recap some of the things that was said. They stole my thunder by sharing how much money we gave. You know, I could spend $1, can't I? But about 4 years ago, we were just across the street celebrating the number of units that were going to open over there so that residents would have a safe, clean, and affordable place to live, to call home. And today we have an opportunity to put into the fold 66 more units. And while we know that that does not put a significant dent in the needs of our community, we know that we are well on our way to make sure that we are working extremely hard to put a roof over the heads of those who not only want one, but deserve. I am so grateful for the Advantage Housing Pack that the city of St. Petersburg and other municipalities are a part of, along with the county. Instead of fighting over projects and fighting over land, we've come together and pooled our resources. And that's why just not long ago, you guys were up in Ridgecrest dedicating units for our senior population, who are also finding it very difficult to find a place to live and remain in our community. One of the other concerns that we've had is allowing individuals to stay in the heart of where they grew up at. Projects such as this, for individuals earning $16,000 a year. Wrap your head around that. $16,000 a year does not adequately take care of a family during these economic times. That's 22% of area medium household income that a person will be paying to live here in these particular units and the units that are to come. That is huge. I don't know if you've been able to grasp the significance of that. We're talking about people who are on Social Security. We're talking about families who receive SNAP benefits, temporary assistance to needy families, and are still working a 40-hour-a-week job just to make ends meet. I am forever and eternally grateful for the residents of Pinellas County who thought it not robbery years ago to vote for the Penny for Pinellas. We are doing exactly what we said we would do with your tax dollars. And that's important, especially in a time when individuals are looking for elected officials to keep their word, to be honest, and to be true to the residents who voted for them and put them in office. And I believe the partnership between the county and the city is strong. I am forever grateful for the city council members, as well as the mayor, all of the staff. I have to throw in a name, though he's not here, and that's Tom Almonte, who is over the housing department with the county. They knew that coming in, housing was my heart and soul. It has been for a long time, having grown up in Jordan Park and knowing what it is like to have people look down on you because you need a little help and a little support to be able to make your ends meet and have a place to live. So I don't want to forget him and the staff that's here from the county. Again, on behalf of myself, on behalf of Dave Eggers, who is our chair, and Commissioner Chris Latvala, our vice chair, Barry Burton, the administrator, and the remainder of my colleagues. Thank you all so very much. And I have to say, it is an honor for us to be able to be a part of Blue Sky Communities.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. And I want to thank you for highlighting something very important. and kind of bringing it full circle to how we started talking about this project in this district. You know, Ford Pinellas and the city of St. Petersburg both worked hard to make sure that this district came to a reality, and the county was willing to step up here and put dollars into the city, and they continue to do that. And a lot of places that we work around the state, you don't see that kind of collaboration, and that's something that's incredibly important and valuable here, and I don't take for granted. So thank you very much. That pretty much concludes our presentation for today. I want to thank all the speakers and everyone in attendance for helping us celebrate today. And before you depart, we will be cutting the ribbon out front, so I'd like to ask all of the speakers and dignitaries to join me out front. We have refreshments in the club room, and then we'll be gathering by the elevator to in case anybody wants to tour a unit. So thank you very much, and travel safe.
I might take my little.
My name is Joel Hostler. I'm one of the owners here at 7C Music. My father and I opened this business in 2016. I'm a Florida native. My father moved back here, retired in 2015, started doing some guitar work. Quickly found out that he didn't want to do it all on his own, and so he called me later on that year and asked if we would want to move back to Florida from California, Southern California. We literally moved here in September of 2016, and we opened the doors of the shop in October of 2016. We were in a smaller shop, and then we were there for about 4 years. So 2016 to 2020, we signed a lease here in the Warehouse Arts District and opened this location here. Expanded quite a bit. Of course, we opened a coffee shop that my wife runs. Now we're here. It's 2025, a new year. It's been good. This place has become, I think, a hub for musicians. We have a lot of times guitar players will come in and somebody else comes in and they're in the room and they just start talking and get to know each other. Then they're having coffee the next week. There's a ton of bars and a ton of restaurants that have people playing music in the corner. We knew we wanted more of a listening room type of experience where people are able to listen and actually engage in the music. Between the coffee shop, the concerts, the guitar repair shop, and the sales, I think it's a really fun place for community, for people to come and hear music, get coffee, and even learn more about guitars and stuff too.
Moved to St. Pete in 2014. We drove around and walked around different neighborhoods and noticed that they had events, community gatherings, cleanups, signage, cool logos, flags, all kinds of stuff like that. And I thought, I wonder why we don't have that. For the longest time, one of the things that annoyed us was anytime we met locals from St. Pete, one of the first questions they would ask us is, what neighborhood do you live in, right? And so people would say, well, I live in Kenwood, or I live in North Kenwood, or I live in Old Northeast, or Old Southeast. And we would just say, you know, we're that neighborhood north of North Kenwood.
When we were initially looking at this house, on Zillow they had it listed as North Kenwood, which we thought was a bit of a stretch.
A little bit of a chin scratcher.
Yeah, I think they were trying to kind of just jump on the Kenwood bandwagon.
We wanted to have an identity. We wanted to have something that we could be proud of, but also that our neighbors could be proud of together.
We went into this just wanting to organize a neighborhood association, and we didn't realize how much it would change our lives for the better.
About a year ago, I joined up and became part of the core
team reviving the neighborhood association, and as part of that, we decided to really start fresh, and we interviewed, asked neighbor input and talked about coming up with a new name.
I started doing some research and realized that we actually did have a name. We were Highland Grove neighborhood. Highland Grove was actually a much larger neighborhood, and we decided to split the neighborhood into two smaller neighborhoods. On the west side of 28th Street, a neighborhood formed called Station View, and on the east side of 28th Street, our neighborhood formed, and our neighbors voted to call it St. Pete Heights.
So St. Pete Heights is an amazing location, actually. It's pretty central. Our big intersections are 30th Ave North and 38th Ave North. We make up a kind of a perfect square in the center there, also from 275 over to 28th Street North.
The more people start to see the name, hear the name through things like signage, which we're working on now, flags and other merchandise. We just got our branding done by a local St. Pete artist.
I am the guy behind the St. Pete Heights branding project. I work with the committee closely to come up with a new brand identity that represents who they really are. From the beginning of the project, our goal was to create something that can represent the people of the neighborhood. As opposed to when you're working with a business, you're thinking about the customers in mind. In this case, we wanted to represent the community, the people, and some of the things that makes them unique. My job was to find a way to tell their story through a visual identity, through beautiful typography, colors, and something that is able to showcase their passion behind the love for the neighborhood.
People are going to have pride to be in this neighborhood. It's a new neighborhood. People don't necessarily know what St. Pete Heights is, probably never heard of it. Once they start seeing the logo on, signs, flags, shirts, things like that, it'll become more identifiable, and I feel like it'll bring more of a sense of community to the neighborhood.
The more they see these types of things, the more inclined they're going to be to care about their neighborhood and to want to feel invested in the community. It'll just be a domino effect where over time it will become bigger, better, and a place that people just love even more.
I can't wait to put that flag up in front of my house. I can't wait. It's gonna look really cool.
One of the things that we do in the neighborhood association is have care days. There are opportunities for the neighbors to come together and volunteer, oftentimes to beautify, clean up. It really can be anything. But the most recent one we did was a Drains to Bay project, where we put the signs that say Drains to Bay on the storm drains. We did every one in St. Pete Heights.
We had a day where we put signs that say drains to the bay on all of our storm drains, so people know that any water that go into the storm drains will wind up in the bay. So they're more careful about that.
When we do these care days, we're walking around the streets. Like, how often do you just walk around the streets of your neighborhood doing something like cleaning up? Or people notice that. Neighbors notice that and want to know, like, what are you guys doing? And then we get to talk about the neighborhood association. We even had one guy join in.
I would say it's very worth it. We've met so many incredible people in our neighborhood that we didn't even know live just doors down from us. Had it not been for the neighborhood association, had it not been for this initiative that we had, none of that would have been possible. And to me, those human connections are really what it's all about.
Hi, my name is Megan Orlando. I'm the Emergency Management Specialist for the Office of Emergency Management in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm here to talk about Alert Pinellas. Alert Pinellas is our emergency notification tool. That's how we get our emergency notifications out to the public and to our communities. Alert Pinellas can distribute a wide range of notifications, watches and warnings for tornadoes, storm surge, high winds. It can alert for shelter evacuations, for boil water notices, and hazardous materials incidents. You can register for Alert Pinellas using the link on the screen. You can register with your email, with text messages, or to receive a phone call. Pro tip, you can add the Alert Pinellas phone number to your phone, so that way you know when you're getting a call from us. Opting into Alert Pinellas is the best way to ensure that you receive emergency notifications from your partners at the City of St. Pete and Pinellas County. Every storm creates its unique hazards, so follow city socials to stay up to date on the most important information.
Right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We will call to order the Health, Energy, Resilience, and Sustainability Committee for February 19th, 2026 to order. And clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Gabbard.
Here.
Floyd. Here. Driscoll.
Here.
Givens. Here.
Before you, you have an agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move approval.
All in favor? Aye. And we have our January 29th, 2026 minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approval.
All in favor? Aye. Very good. Let's get right into our long-awaited new business. This has been an item that I brought forward onto the referral list quite some time ago. We are joined today for a discussion on the Storm Squad Initiative and the Initiative on Coastal Adaptation and Resilience, otherwise known as ICAR. And we are joined today by Dr. Bernarly Dixon, the Executive Director of ICAR from the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg, and Erica Hall, Storm Squad Executive Board Member. We have a pretty robust presentation, and so what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, Council, is we'll let both ladies get through the presentation in its entirety, and then we'll leave time for questions at the end. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Well, Dr. Dixon, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much for having me. So today I'm going to talk about a special tool we created called Chris Hazard. But I wanted to go back to the history first before we go back to the Chris Hazard project. So CRIS, which is actually Community Resilience Information Systems, was created in 2019, and actually mayor of the city at that time was our partner, and Amber Bolding from the emergency officials was actually involved in this project. So from that point onwards, we built the next thing called Chris Hazard, which is actually works for the entire county, but of course we have a special emphasis on the city and the city informations that we use. So every coastal communities are going to be impacted and vulnerable to coastal hazards, but no two communities will be impacted the same way. What it creates is a need for informed, data-driven policy solutions that actually does customize those needs of the community, not necessarily one size fits all. And that was the premise we used to create the CRIS, original CRIS, and we actually targeted each of the communities in the neighborhoods within the city boundaries, and we assessed unique needs of those community in terms of biophysical vulnerability, socioeconomic vulnerability, and environmental vulnerability. So biophysical and socioeconomic vulnerabilities, most people are aware of it, but there are also environmental vulnerability. What do I mean by it? Because if you have a chemical storage facilities in your neighborhood and it is impacted by the storm, and we all know all disaster response is local at the beginning, which means those neighborhoods needs to know what chemicals they have and what they should be doing. Because if they live downhill from it, there is a risk, and at that middle of the disaster, no 911 service can come and help them. The hazard response systems cannot come and help them. So with that context, we started building the CRIS, initial CRIS, and also if you have a flooding in a dog park, it has a different kind of health impact. If you have a flooding in a brownfield, it has a different health implications. So we started building all of those out so we can actually go talk to the community, and through that community education and outreach, we envisioned development of the Storm Squad because we wanted to talk to the community directly. So that's the background we started out with. Then we went back and developed the project. This is called CRIS Hazard. Now, I don't have to tell you this because you guys already know that the flooding, right? We have done lots of flooding contest pictures from the community members. So the one on the left on the kayak was actually won the first award, one of our photo contests, right? They're actually kayaking on the streets. And the other one, you can actually see Hurricane Helene. The photo was actually uploaded, right? So we know these problems. So our goal for the CRIS Hazard to develop the same system, we started out with the city of St. Pete, scale it up for the entire county and have more resources and apps and data to it. So with that, again, we have lots of information in terms of seawater spill, lots of news, and we know these things. But what we needed to do, aggregate this data in an organized way so you can actually make decisions. Now, city has a cyclic fix. It's a great tool, right? But it's not really in the middle of the emergency kind of tool. It's a work order in a blue sky, right? So I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do with the systems we have built. Now, this project was funded by National Science Foundation. It's a nationally competitive. They gave us a $1.49 million to build the entire platform and the infrastructure. City of St. Pete and the Pinellas County is the only one in the nation has such system because NSF does not fund similar projects to do different places, right? So it's a one-of-a-kind infrastructure that you guys have access to, and we built it for you for this community because I happen to live in Pinellas County and City of St. Pete. So again, the whole goal of the CRIS and CRIS Hazard is that take the biophysical dimension of the risk, take the environmental dimension of the risk, and human and social dimension of the risk, and map and model, integrate all of the mapping and modeling into one. We also have a survey capabilities. We survey, we map those surveys so you can then make policy decision and that you can customize the policy, right? So you can actually see it, and it's transparent. It's available to anybody who wants to know, right? So you can actually see it, the community can look at it, you guys can look at it, your officials can look at it, anybody can use it. So the CRIS Hazard has two main components. I'm going to talk about it today. On the right, it shows the app. It's called CRIS Hazard Flood app, and I'm going to talk about it momentarily. On the left, we have this camera mounts. And these cameras we were successful in installing before Hurricane Helene. So I am going to show you some pictures that we have collected in terms of flood water, rise and fall, and infrastructure damages during Hurricane Helene. And what is most important thing is that this camera survived Hurricane Helene and Milton. So that actually speaks for the robustness of the methods we developed, right? And we included the mapping dashboard. We have a data dashboard, and we also have a lots of programmatic, custom programmatic skill sets built into these things so we can remotely manage. Everything was actually designed and developed in my lab at the USF campus. And so then once you have those data from the cameras, you can actually make the flood elevation data. These are not model data. These are measured data. Somebody is going into the field and measuring, right? That's what your high water mark data are for. This is the one you can actually see the camera data. Then you can actually make the flooded areas, right? And before Helene, we actually had 8 cameras active. So we have been able to collect those data. And then we actually had a soft launch on September 18th for the flood app, and we had some data, and those blue dots on the right lower images shows that the data we got from the community members about the flooding in their backyards. Now, we all know after storm, you guys sent people out to measure the high water mark, right? And these are the ones that we have a system in the app. They can upload the picture. We use AI to extract the height of the water. So this complements whatever that you guys are doing, but it gives you more data points that physically you cannot go and send people to collect, right? So those are the two main features of it. So again, the Chris hazards, you can actually see those are the live cameras. You can actually go to the camera, and if you click on it, you will see the reference images and current images. And these images are uploaded every 15 minutes, right? So the reference images are there for daytime and nighttime because storm, everything changes. It looks different. So you wanted to have a reference image so you can see how much it's changed between the reference image and at that event point that we are talking about. So again, two things I'm going to focus on to show you some data that static camera divide flood depths, and we actually measure it, and it can actually help you understand the flood inundation, meaning how much water was rose and fall, how fast is rose and fall, and what it did to the infrastructure. Now, there are a lot of gauging stations the USGS has, and city actually has some, so is the county that measures the height of the elevation, right? But this not only measures the height of the elevation, it makes you look at it, what is happening to the infrastructure. That's the added benefit that you could not have if you just measured through a transducer how much is the water, right? So with that, let's look at some pictures of the static camera. So the city folks are for the first time going to see this data. Again, we built the camera. So far, we have 32 cameras that are actually active. Within the city limits, we have 17 cameras, and rest of them through the Pinellas County. We are in the process of installing 4 more cameras within the city limits, and also 1 more within the Pinellas County. So this is solar powered. We have a backup systems, and it's actually fail safe. So my biggest pride is that it worked during Hurricane Helen and Milton, right? So I was worried. I evacuated and then watched the cameras all day and all night because I wanted to make sure they're working, right? So here are some examples of the setup. So we do have a contract with the city and the county to install these cameras, and we have a pole, and the one on the right side, top right, is the Bears Creek, which is 1st Avenue North and near 58th, which actually floods in a no-name storms, right? September 4th, 2024, August 8th, 2025. We have some data, we can show it to you. So these are the ones you can actually see it. So we make it look like a bird box, so actually hope that no one will steal our cameras. So it's a decoy, right? So again, these are the whole distribution of the cameras throughout the county, but you can actually see the city of St. Pete. We have lots of intense data, and we collected lots of data during Hurricane Helen in Bartlett Park, Harbordale, that were impacted by Salt Creek flooding. And I knew that Salt Creek flooding when I made that map in 2019 by Chris. Knew that data. It has been public, and it has been there. I have laid out the risk of those, Chris, and I'm not going to talk about that. That's for another day, what Chris can show it to you. But here we actually installed those cameras based on our past high water mark data in consultation with the floodplain managers, as well as the modeled risks, so we can actually see. So based on that, we have actually installed the yellow ones, so we are to be installed. So we are in the process of contract negotiations on those. Here is the data in Bartlett Park, which is off the Salt Creek, right? If you can see September 6th, the right, okay, let's start with the left image first, upper left. That's actually 26th, 6:30 p.m., before the storm surge started taking place. Upper right, actually 10:30 p.m., you can still see 5 of those reflective tapes. Our model and the computer vision actually counts those numbers of the tapes we have, right? Now, if you look at it at 10:30, between 8:30 and 2:30, you can only see 3 tapes, which means you have a 2.5 feet of water up, right? You can actually see between 8:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., we collect this data every 15 minutes, how it has been uploaded. So you can actually see the data, right? Then you look at it again at half past midnight, you can actually see you only have 2 stripes you can see, which means you have a 3.5 feet of water. And we can actually collect this data in real time every 15 minutes for the grant that I got from the federal government for $1.5 million to do it for you guys so you can actually use it, right? So again, you can see that over here, this much area was underwater during the storm surge, right? So then I'm going to show you some more of those, and you can actually see between 10:30 and 8:30 p.m., water rose 2 and 2.5 feet. Between 10:30 and 12:30, it rose 1 feet. So you know the peak, the rate of rise, and then it fell, right? You can actually calculate all of those data and the graph. Here is the data for Lake Maggiore shores, right? You can not only see that the water is rising 1 and 1.5 feet, and you can actually see between the two stripes that 3 feet is actually over, you can also see the infrastructure damage, right? And this is unique about these cameras because infrastructure damage you cannot find if you just have a transducer that actually measures the water level. But infrastructure is what is going to cost you, and it actually has a huge impact in the community when it falls, right? So here's the Lake Majuri shores. We collected the data, and you can actually see that whole berm actually came up and the erosion, right? You can actually see it. This is for Denver Park. This is really interesting because we have had contract with city for Denver Park since 2021 because we have lots of sensors there, rainfall, weather, all sorts of data we collect. Now, what is interesting that we can actually see the rise. You can actually see at 10:30 p.m., we have a 1.5 feet of water. If you can actually see at 1:30 a.m. on 2027, you have a 2.7 feet of water, right? 2.75 feet of water. Now, what is interesting, I knew my equipment is there. So I called Barbara up because the contract with the city, I said, Barbara, your system is drowned. So my things are not going to work, so replace it. Right? So this is the actually Denver Park circuit that city owns, and you can actually see 2.5 feet of water, how far it is, and what systems will be burnt and fried, right? And we knew it ahead of time because my system is dying, and I want somebody to listen. I'm willing to talk with a bullhorn. I just want somebody to listen, right?
You don't need one. And that's why you're here.
So again, this is the camera one. It's on a city, in a actually seawall of the St. Pete campus. You can actually see how the water is rising, right? This is seawall. Seawall means it is actually already 2 feet above the water, right, the bay. And we are having the water rising above the seawall, right? And we can actually say 2.5 feet of water at 9:15. We go back and 11:45, 3.35 feet water. So we actually can see it, how much water is coming in. And we also have other data because I love data. I don't want to bore you guys. I have very exciting data to show various storm surges that come in. So it's really, really fun. And I can show you and talk about this all day long. But there are a lot of cool data. Okay? So the bottom line is that we have a live dashboard. And this live dashboard actually shows each of the camera. And if you can click on it, it will show you the current scene. Right? And it will also show you the reference scene between day and night because night, as you can see, looks different, right? We have a night vision camera. Things do not work during daytime that works in the nighttime, right? And most of the time storm comes in the night, right? So we actually have a night vision camera, but you can actually see the reference images, current images, and you can see it. So this is how it looks, excuse me. So you can actually see this is your nighttime reference image, this is your daytime reference image, and this is your actual image at that moment. I picked that picture at 2:11 on 7:45. You said that's my latest picture. I actually screen capped that picture from that live dashboard. So what do we do with this camera? We can actually animate. We know the height of the water. Water always equivalent, right? So it goes to the same height. So you can then actually map and model what the waters are going to be based on the camera data. You can also see who is impacted. You can see the neighborhoods, right? You can actually see the communities that is going to be impacted and what are their income levels or their social vulnerability index, right? You can also go back the per capita income, which means city can put in their new, you have a Sunrise program. Who are these people needs the money, right? So you can actually connect those dots that actually helps you pre-plan before you go to the community, right? So again, we can also, this in the Bartlett Park, we actually, this is one of my PhD students doing his PhD. We actually took each of the flood height and the low-level elevation, and we know how much water was in the camera. We mark the building that will be flooded and that will not be flooded, right? So we can actually create these processes, and we can show you. So these are actually, you can see the blue means flooded potential, brown is a little higher above the elevation for the water to come in. So we actually modeled, and my student Alec is actually building the whole thing. And it doesn't cost you guys to take our work, right? We already have done this work. So again, if you want to ask Dr. Dixon, what is the accuracy of your data that you're collecting, here is our published work. We are actually, city and county goes back and collects high water mark, which means people are in the field. Those are the actually plotted against the camera-derived high water mark. You can say R square of 9.91 means a very straight line matching very well, right? So it's really high importance to the quality of the data. I wanted to show it to you. So the basic camera infrastructure is the functionality of the gauging station, but it gives you more than the gauging station. It allows you to see the infrastructure, right? And here is an example, no-name storm 825 in Bears Creek. It's First Avenue North, and that 58th and 49th, that's flooding all the time. You can see in 15 minutes how much water rose. Can you see it? So you can actually see it's 5:45 p.m. You can see the whole pole. In 15 minutes, you can see only 2 of those folds. Like this is like 2.5 feet of water. You can only see. Look at that at 6:45. It's buried. Now, cyclic fix is very good. They can solve it. But at that point, real time, you need those real time information. And community members need to know that. Because if that area is flooding and I am driving through, I need to know that. And that's what we created the app called Waze. Anybody speeds? You speed. So you know to use Waze app, because Waze tells you police reported ahead, right? So you can slow down. So that's the same concept we use over here for flooding. So this app actually, what I call Waze for flood. So, and you can actually see what area is flooded so you can avoid it. When the water recedes, you can avoid it, and these data are real-time available. So here is the news clippings that 58th Avenue and 4th Street flooding, and one of the persons said, oh, wait a minute, it'll be really helpful for me to know if the flood water is done, because this person had to park her car long ways and then walk. Walking through that one brings me back to the initial concepts of the disease, bacteria, and heavy metal you are exposing yourself to. So it's always helpful to know how you can route yourself, right? So this is what we actually created, and this is different from cyclic fix, but it complements it, right? Because you can mine those data back, and you can actually use. So here's the app. You can upload the flood pictures. We have received some flood pictures during Hurricane Helene, and we know what is the flood pictures, and we have a AI algorithms at the back that tells us, extracts the flood water height, whether 4 inches or 4 feet. Your emergency official needs to know what vehicle they need to send, right, to rescue somebody. So we do this in a real time in the dashboard. You can actually see. So here are the various reports we have got between Helen and Milton. So these are the various photos. They were uploaded, and you can actually see it. Those are available to you today. You can go look for yourself, right? Again, the key feature is that real-time flooding that can warn community members. Augment high water mark data collection, because if people are uploading their flooding, we can actually augment that high water mark collections, and we can also cross-check this against the static camera, because we know nearest static camera how high was the water, right? So if somebody says there's a 10 feet of water, my camera is picking up 4 feet, we know that's not right. Right? So there's a lot of what we call quality control built into it, because we are in academia, we think about the things no one is thinking, right? And then we create some new tools, platforms, and knowledge. That's exactly what we do, right? And one of the things is that we wanted to make sure there's a high quality information. Again, here are the various flood app data we have actually collected during Hurricane Helene. People uploaded these pictures, right? We know the location. We also know the height of the water so that we can work. We can take those floodwater data, we can actually plot them against high water mark that city and county collects from those flood points. And we know what areas that are experiencing major flooding and minor flooding. We have a real-time dashboard that actually shows this. This shows the elevation of the area where the water is rising, right? If you live in a valley, your water is going to rise a lot faster than if you live in a hill, right? Each of the sites, you can actually look through it. We cross-check this data against the rainfall data, the tide gauge data. We do not put in puts any data into the dashboard. The app will show anybody publish any data, right? If somebody tells you there is a police when there is no police, there's nothing I can do about it. Add that flood app. But once we put it in the dashboard, we check them against the tide data. We check them against the local camera data. We check them against local height, like rainfall data, and then we put it in. Right? So these are quality control, again, built into it. So again, We did not wanted to build a flood app without working with the community, because I can build a sophisticated flood app. If nobody is using it, it has no use. So we worked with the community, and that's when the Storm Squad come in, and Erica is going to talk more about it. We worked with the actual community. You can see I have stuck green tape and a red tape to walk my 2 students, so there we are trying 2 different designs. So I told them, go follow the red tape and go follow the green tape. See that I stuck the tapes on my students so they can actually follow it, right? So we actually developed and designed this app, and then we worked with it, right? So here are my students. They're actually working with the community member, playing with it. We are figuring out what is their struggling, what needs to be improved, how we can make it better so they can use, right? So that's what we have developed, and that was the task. Storm Squad helped us do it. So I will hand it to Erica. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Madam Chair and esteemed committee members, friends, colleagues, and community. Thank you for joining us this morning. Go to the next slide, please. Storm Squad is a neighborhood-based resilience initiative currently active in Bartlett Park, Harbordale, Childs Park, Jordan Park, Campbell Park, Palmetto Park, Lake Maggiore Shores, and Lilman. Each of these neighborhoods experience flooding differently, and each contributes differently to this work. Storm Squad focuses on real-time flooding reporting, community data collection, disaster preparedness education, direct connection to response resources. This is not theoretical climate conversation. This is neighborhood level resilience. Next slide, please. Oh, no, leave it there, thank you. Storm Squad is grounded in community engagement and community-based participatory research. As you can see, residents are not subjects of the research, they are co-creators. They test and refine the flood app. They provide ground truth reporting. They interpret survey data and identify local priorities. This is science and lived experience working together. Bartlett Park and Harbordale have been strong in reporting and Office of Emergency Management coordination. Lake Maggiore Shores has provided important flood pattern insight tied to storm surge. Jordan Park, Campbell Park, and Palmetto Park are expanding preparedness outreach. Lilman represents continued growth and needed representation. This is a citywide network, not a single site initiative. But Childs Park deserves specific recognition. Childs Park has not waited for resilience to arrive. They've been building it. The Childs Park Neighborhood Resilience Collective has built organized, sustained resilience leadership. As referenced in your last HERS meeting, the Resilience Hub pilot in Childs Park is already part of the city's resilience conversation, and they've been organizing, educating, and preparing residents long before today's meeting. So the Storm Squad does not duplicate that work. We seek collaboration by aligning CRIS data, camera infrastructure, and flood reporting with an established community structure. So Childs Park is not a vulnerable community. It is not just impacted. It is a leading community, and it is leading. Dr. Dixon has also previously worked in Childs Park, installing cameras and building data infrastructure. This partnership has history. It is sustained, not reactive. I also want to recognize Dr. Benali Dixon for her leadership on CRIS, the Community Resiliency Information Systems Platform, and through ICAR at USF St. Pete. CRIS is not just an app. It is a research-driven data backbone. It includes camera installations across neighborhoods, AI-supported flood depth modeling, integration of social vulnerability data, actionable dashboards for you all, decision makers, through ICAR, Dr. Dixon has positioned St. Petersburg as a living laboratory for coastal adaptation, where research, community engagement, and policy intersect. And Storm Squad stands on that foundation. So Dr. Dixon has talked about CRIS data. You can see we use social media to engage communities. We have Angel, who I think is in the room, from Harbordale, who has is a leader in the Harbordale community with Storm Squad. So our CRIS data shows ongoing flood impacts in Childs Park and other neighborhoods. This data shows recurring flood impacts across multiple neighborhoods. The data tells us where flooding is happening. Community leadership tells us how to respond. So our approach, where strong leadership exists, strengthen it. Where the data shows need, build it. As Benali said, like ways for flooding, but with verification and decision-grade data. It creates a community-informed flood dashboard. This flood app is extremely important. It captures flood depth, cross-checks rainfall, tide, and camera data, supports emergency response decisions. But technology alone is not resilience, trust is. We've already seen examples where community reporting led to real-time council response. Thank you, Councilmember Driscoll, for seeing Angel's message and responding on behalf of the city and that community. So community reporting has led to real-time council response and cleanup. So the data creates visibility. Visibility creates accountability, and accountability drives action. Next slide, please, Dr. Dixon. So the survey data shows flooding causes missed work, property damage, disruption for elderly and disabled residents. When flooding causes missed work, it becomes economic justice. When it impacts seniors and disabled residents, it becomes public health. Resilience is environmental, economic, and social. Next slide. So again, I just spoke about the survey data and what it revealed. So this is what's so important about being able to collect the data. It gives you a story. It's a story map, and everyone can tell the story in their own way. Next slide, please, Dr. Dixon. So Storm Squad members are working with Pinellas County Office of Emergency Management to connect residents to resources, especially in Bartlett Park and Harbordale, and expanding that coordination. This is community engagement in practice. Neighborhood leaders serving as bridges between residents and institutions. And closing that, I just want to say resilience in St. Petersburg is strongest where community leadership already exists. Storm Squad brings tools, CRIS brings data, Childs Park brings lived leadership, Office of Emergency Management brings institutional response. Together, that becomes infrastructure. This is not about one tool. It is not about one neighborhood. Resilience in St. Petersburg becomes durable when rigorous data, engaged neighborhoods, and public institutions move in alignment. And our commitment is to make that alignment the standard and not the exception. Thank you.
Ladies, wow. Thank you so much. First of all, just thank you for the energy that you bring to this work. I know that, a lot of times we talk about resiliency and it can be, in a reactive way when people are in their state of trauma, when people are in a place where they need response and recovery. We don't always talk about resiliency in a way that is so proactive and responsive and positive. And so I just want to thank you both, because I feel like the people that you work with, that is the angle that you bring to this work. And I think that it's really inspiring. And so I'm really excited to hear what all of my colleagues have to say. I'm not sure if all of you have seen a presentation like this before, or if this is brand new to you. I saw this for the first time at a CONA meeting oh my goodness, quite some time ago. And that's when I filed the new business item, because I knew that this was a conversation that we needed to have collectively around the table about what the vision of being a resilient city truly looks like for those that we serve. So Councilmember Driscoll, you had a mention in this, so I think it's appropriate that you opened your hand up first, because you have certainly been a champion for your neighborhoods as well. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you first.
Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing this forward as a new business item and working to bring this discussion here today. Thank you both for such a wonderful presentation. You really had, first of all, you know, anyone who thinks science is boring needs to talk to you for a little
Amen.
while.
Amen.
Because your passion for this really shows through not only the way you talk about it, but the work that you do here. This is really quite significant. So there are two parts to this. So I want to address the first part first, and the way that these cameras are able to track the flooding, the way that you can see them in real time. There are so many great applications for this that the city could be taking advantage of, and I'm surprised that Brajesh isn't here today, because this is right up his alley when you're talking about flood areas and our infrastructure. So has there been any conversation around real collaboration with the city on taking this data and using it as we're doing this planning for stronger infrastructure?
Yeah, I think we have Maven here today to address some of those questions, if you want to come up.
Good morning, Maven.
Morning, Maven.
Good morning. Yes, and thank you. That's a great question. So Dr. Dixon and I have met a couple times trying to discuss how we can merge efforts together. And she just sent me a proposal to fund the next year of this program, because the grant is running out. So they do have to, have Wi-Fi and continued operations on that. So we are looking to fund that operationally as well.
Okay. Well, that starts to answer one of the other questions that I had, which is how can we help? Are we talking
$18,000?
Yeah,
okay.
very, very small amount.
$18,675 to be exact.
Just the Wi-Fi services.
Just the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Because once my grant runs out, I cannot feed anything to it. The infrastructure, you are going to get it. So the infrastructure stays, no one runs away with it, but I cannot continue pay for the Wi-Fi services.
Right, okay, so that's great, but I'm looking at how we expand this as well. So I would want, get this done so you can get the Wi-Fi and so you're secure with that. But I want to know what more looks like.
Correct.
As far as scaling this, so.
Correct.
This
We have
is really
all the-
important.
We
And
can
Correct.
provide you that.
Okay, and I want you involved, of course, but I want Brajesh involved. So I'm hoping that we hear from him about this as well. I'll be setting up a call with him. So I'm hoping that he's either watching or he has read this or is familiar with it.
I know he
Rajesh
is familiar, yes.
Absolutely.
Good, because this is the kind of stuff you sit with his laptop and look at.
Right.
All kinds of cool stuff. So I really see an opportunity for this to help strengthen the city's long-term planning as well.
Correct, and there are some gaps from our research we know that needs more sampling of the cameras, because I had to get the money and we had to not overcome it, right? 32 cameras, they're very expensive operations, but we can, if city is interested in it, we will be happy to work with you and build you and install more cameras and bring in online.
Yeah, just thinking around my district, and I have, so just so you know, District 6 includes downtown all the way south to 54th Avenue South and follows the waterfront. So I have a lot of areas, 3 of these, Bartlett Park, Harbordale, and Campbell Park are all in my district. This is very meaningful to the residents of my district and of course the whole city. But looking at that, I'm already thinking about other places where this could be really helpful. So yeah, so let's continue that part of the conversation. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And if you could share those places when you have them, that would be wonderful too.
Yeah, so Do you have, so you've started with this, and this is, I guess, for both of you, because now we're talking about the cameras and the storm squad and all of that, and a big shout out to Angel for his being such a leader on this, and you know, sometimes I was a little nervous about him venturing out so much right after the storm. I'm like, dude, just be careful, you know, we're texting. And, but these are the folks that we need who really care about making sure that our neighborhoods stay safe and aware of these things.
So I wanted to make a point that I have not mentioned it yet in terms of Storm Squad, because Duke actually funded us to pay the storm captains a stipend, small stipend, but we did. We wanted to make sure that communities that are very vulnerable and socioeconomically vulnerable, they're not spending their time off from their job and not getting compensated. So we did try to get some small funding. We had a one-year funding, but ran out. But we have a small funding to pay the stipend to the community leaders who is going to be part of the Storm Squad, because we wanted them to truly engage and accountable, because they don't get the stipend if they don't do ABCD. So we have a list of ABCD they have to do. So there is some built-in accountability in the process too.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so you started off with one group of neighborhoods and for this. What, and you can only start with so many. What are the next ones? What were the ones that if you were to start the next, an expansion of Storm Squad, which neighborhoods would be next?
I would build in the Shore Acres area, Bahama Shores, for example, because the reason we started out with those communities, those are socioeconomically vulnerable as well as biophysically vulnerable. And that's what my grant was from the Duke, to give them some stipend to do it. Now that we have a working model, we can actually expand to the other neighborhoods, right? All of the coastal communities, for example, coastal neighborhoods, coastal waterfront neighborhoods will be first place I will start, right? So that will be very helpful.
Yeah. And then I think about neighborhoods that have limited access in and out of the neighborhood. So I'll use Coquina Key as an example. There are 2 bridges. It floods on the land side of the bridge.
Correct.
You've got a camera, but it's at Grandview Park.
Correct.
Right. So here's me. I don't know when I'm a city council member, and I can't find out.
Correct.
If it's safe, if I can even get back to my house until I find out about it from neighbors who just go out there and try it anyway. You know, we need to have, but at the same time, you can't expect someone from the city to be standing there watching for the water to go down to say, okay, all clear, you can leave, or, you know, you can safely go on and off the island. And, you know, this isn't the only neighborhood, but it's It's one that I know best. And so cameras at those 2 bridges.
Correct.
That would be a game changer for many people. I mean, that's a crowded island. I will tell you, there's a lot of people who live there, and some stay, some go. But either way, they need to be able to get on or off the island at some point. So I would hope that you would look at those kinds of vulnerabilities as well. That could, I mean, just adding a camera at each bridge would make a huge difference.
In my experience, getting the contract, bridge falls under federal government, so you have to get a different kind of contract. I'm a poor measly professor. I don't know how to do those things. So it's a very complicated process, but I'm willing to work with whoever is going to help me navigate those through, because bridges and roads, you have to get FDOT permission. I figured that one out along the way because I had some sites.
Yeah, I just see that as an opportunity for collaboration where
Absolutely.
there could be great benefit.
Correct,
to that.
correct.
So, yeah, and then so I want to see how we can help, and I look forward to learning more about scaling this and the ways that the city can work with you. And I just really appreciate all the work that's been done by the 2 of you, as well as all of the neighbors that have contributed to making the Storm Squad successful.
And my students.
Yes.
And your students.
My students, yes.
Yes. Think how many students have come and gone since you started this project. So, so many people.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Harding.
Thank you, Chair. Erica, thank you very much. Doc, I want to come hang out with you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. It scared me a little in the beginning, but I kind of liked it after you got going. The revolutionary idea, bring it to fruition. How is it currently that we market this, or how is it that you're finding users? Which
Users of the app, you mean?
yeah.
So we were very lucky. September 18th, I think that's where you were there. Just before Helen came in, we did a soft launch. Kona invited me to go, ask to take our show there, and we talked to them. That's exactly what I did, because the thing about it, I'm a research and development person, right? I'm an academic. I don't sell. I don't know how to sell or market. That's not my thing, but
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But that's my question is this is all in its infancy, and you have developed a very relevant, very different product that truly does help people. And so how is it, or have we thought about, or?
I'm willing to think about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. And is it, I scanned the QR code. Is there an app, or is it a website?
So when we worked with the community, as you know, the app, we designed it, right? It's a very smartphone compatible, but it's agnostic. It does not go iPhone or Android, because one of the things community said, if I built an app for iPhone, those community doesn't work. So it's a platform agnostic, but it will work on your phone.
All right. Just absolutely super impressive. As is usually the case, Councilmember Driscoll asked the important, relevant questions that I was hoping were going to make me sound smart, but that's all right. But very, very, very relevant. And the follow-up to that is the money part. There's definitely more that you can do with this. The grant, the federal grant, was that for development of the smart stuff?
Correct. It's a smart and connected city, so the grant ends in 2026 fiscal year, right? So after that, till then, I can fund everything. After that, even the current camera, I do not have funding to pay for the Wi-Fi, because that Wi-Fi is a very expensive piece of it, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have the Wi-Fi piece. Now, to deploy it in the other ones, we have the technology, we can build it, right? It's not the problem. So because research and development, the trial and error is done. Now we can go to in a production mode, right? So we can do that and deploy to other places.
Are there any other funding sources, either USF or any other municipalities, counties participating at any level?
So the cameras that are outside the city limit, county is in the process of paying for their Wi-Fi, right? So that's what they're interested in, and I just talked to them yesterday, because within the city we will end up having 21. Currently we have 16 cameras, or 17 cameras. Outside the city, we have a lot more cameras, so the county is going to pay for those Wi-Fi, right? So that's the piece. I do have other R&D grants out. The problem with this kind of grants I get, those have to be unique. Those are not deployment grant. Those are research and development, build something unique and cool, and nobody has ever done it, right? That's the kind of grant I am eligible to get from my academic funding.
And
right?
as the community partner, I'm the one who goes out and looks for the grants to fund the ambassadors and for us to host the town halls and the community meetings and, you know, as she said, the stipends to compensate people for their time. So that's where me as the community partner comes in and supports the university as their funds are being, you know, zeroed out and depleted. And as you all know, we can't mention, you know, justice or equity or climate. So a lot of the work and the support that we did receive from USF now in that form is no longer available. So that's why we're looking at other ways to fundraise, to write grants for community engagement and the Storm Squad piece in particular.
I think that the rest of council would find this interesting. I think that, Doc, you can't be in charge of the money ask. You apparently asked for exactly the money you need. You're supposed to round up by a whole bunch.
We had this discussion already too, trust me.
Remember Gabbard mentioned something down to the penny? I'm like,
Yeah.
round that up a lot. But to that point, it is something that I think that administration would want to hear more about. I'm confident the rest of our colleagues would want to hear more about. And it's not my business, and I don't know, but I would imagine NOAA would want to hear about this. I would imagine, there are bigger organizations that are more focused on meteorological that they're probably also.
Correct. Weather Channel actually invited me to give a talk, so I did have a snippet with the Weather Channel. They were very excited about learning about these
Everyone's
things.
very excited when they talk.
Correct. So yes, I did with the Weather Channel, but the type of grant I have, to answer your question, I have other grants with NSF that's proposal out, but that's again doing some more cool stuff that no one has ever done it, right? Those kind of grants. So I do have some other coolest grant that I have written, so they are there for consideration for evaluation process currently.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, ladies.
Councilmember Givens.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you so much, Dr. Dixon, Ms. Erica, Angel, everybody, for the work that you've done. You guys have literally done the damage control, you've done the quality control, and you've given us another tool for our toolbox. And I'm so excited for this. This is a integrated mapping tool. You've provided us with modeling so that we as policymakers can make better informed decisions. I represent Childs Park, and so my ears perked up when you started talking about Childs Park, but then, I started thinking about other neighborhoods. I'm glad you mentioned Shore Acres. I was thinking about Riviera Bay, and I'm like, okay, how can we go west and north to start incorporating more neighborhoods into the Storm Squad initiatives? I look at Angel, and I'm like, can we just duplicate him? Can we clone him? I mean, he's incredible, the work that he's been doing. And I want to see more work done. So how can we expand that footprint? You've already answered that. Thank you for doing that. I do want to talk about the app. Because for those folks who may not be computer literate or tech savvy, or may not even have technology at their disposal, how can we incorporate them so that way they can take advantage of this great resource as well?
So thank you for that question. That's really important because that's one of the reasons we worked with the community, elderly community, underserved community, to design it. Now, the thing about the app, what I found out, to my surprise, they all love their grandkids. They can all send pictures. They figured that piece out, right? So that's exactly how we developed it. So they all have to take a picture and send it to the grandkid. That's exactly how we modeled it. So the process is that no matter where you are, you love to take pictures of your grandkid and upload them. And that's how we designed it.
Oh my gosh. I think just like you, Dr. Dixon, you picked my brain because that's actually how I sell See, Click, Fix.
Correct.
I tell residents all the time in neighborhood association meetings, just have your grandbaby do it.
Correct.
They'll get it done. But I want to talk about the expansion of cameras. You talked about bringing another camera to the city of St. Pete. I think you said at least one more, correct?
No, county one more, and city is actually 4 more, and couple of them in the Riviera Bay, because the Denver Park camera collected really interesting picture, right? But we do not have a dense coverage there. So we selected, actually my student is with me, he helped me select some of the sites because they were actually in the field. They went to take some pictures, came back. So in the Riviera Bay, we have a couple of sites in the Riviera Bay, and we also have one more, King Perry?
Perry Bayview.
Perry Bayview. Another one, Perry Bayview Park. So those are the flooded area, problem area we know. And I have current funding to install some there. So, and that's when I can't expand anymore. I'm sorry. I would love to do it in the bridge. And actually, we found some really good sites even in Northern County, because across the bridge and highway, there are a lot of flooding happens because of the impervious surface. Getting the contract, there was so many hooplas, I would have not been able to finish my current project if I had to get stuck with that loop. So I had to come out of that loop. But if you guys can help me, I can develop those, because I have a 3 years to R&D and submit my report, right? I had a very strict timeline. I couldn't go through the hooplas. I have to get away from it. But we can do it. There, even on, I think, 4th, there is a 375 on-ramp. There is a huge flooding. There is actually a sign that says this area floods. And I would love to put a camera there, right? But I didn't have the funding. I did not know who to go talk to.
Well, I love the fact that you're already planning ahead, and I appreciate that clarification, because I was just thinking, you know, when you talk about impervious surfaces, this is something I think Marshall would love to be a part of as well, Marshall Hampton. I think there's an opportunity for us to collaborate more, and I look forward to seeing what that looks like, because to Councilmember Driscoll's point, I'm thinking about my own district, I'm thinking about Maximum Mornings and Bay Point. You know, there's so many neighborhoods that could benefit from having a camera installed, but we just got to get you the resources.
Correct.
I'm looking forward to scaling up that resource.
All right, I'm all for it. I have developed it. We stayed up all night and all day and built it and broke some, built some, but we did build some now.
And again, I just want to thank you all for giving us a credible and dependable resource that we can use. So thank you for bringing this forward, Chair.
Absolutely. Vice Chair Floyd.
Thank you. First, thank you for the incredible presentation. It was extremely enlightening. While we were going through it, I pulled up a couple of the cameras and looked at the current situation, and it was really interesting to be able to do that. I'm going to bookmark it and save it for specific occurrences. I want to ask a couple of things to Councilmember Driscoll's point, as well as Councilmember Givens. So when I was looking on there, I didn't get a lot of time to look, but I just looked at specific cameras. But you also showed information about modeling and simulation as well. Is that available information publicly?
So the camera, there's everything available, but there's a different layers to it, right? You want to have a nimble system. In the middle of the storm, you do not want to have a big verbose system where you actually have a low bandwidth. So we actually have a modular aspect. So you can see the camera, you can see the app, but if you go to the Chris Hazard, you can see both. Right, so it's a multi-modular ways, right? Because we have to think about, we are not building this for sunny day. We are building this when everything falls and fails, right? So, and we are very lucky. My pride point is that it survived Helen, like 48 hours of, so we actually created the battery power will hold and back up, right? In case Wi-Fi is not working, we have a way to actually back up all the pictures it's going to take. So to answer your question, you can go to the Chris Hazard platform. I had the QR code for it too. That's where we have all of the model. Current Chris, the one I built with you guys in 2019, has all of the city council predicted flood risk, 10-year, 50-year out. And I worked with the Aragon National Lab. Again, I'm bringing in the most top-notch institutions' expertise to these things, to your city, right? So Chris actually has those flood models. And they are already built into it. You can click it. You can actually see 50-year out, 10-year out, all of the models of the flood, wind direction, coastal hazard, inland flooding, all of those things. So you can get those information from it.
That's great, thanks. My mind immediately went to, instead of like a hardware solution to the kind of problem Councilmember Driscoll was describing, like a software one in which like the cameras that are providing data back access the model immediately, and then we can model whether or not a certain area is flooded in real time for information. But I don't know if you're describing like bandwidth issues with that kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the problem is that we could do those. So I love those. One of the councilmen asked me what is the new proposal I gave. Actually, new proposal. I was sitting with the NSF. I said, I want to take all of these. I want to geofence it and send it to the people. Right? Okay, water is rising, and everybody within that geofenced cell phone, I can send it back, right? That's what's very, technologically, it's a very savvy, forward thinking, so that's actually currently being set by, evaluated by one of those organizations called Cyber Systems. To answer that question, that modeling in the middle of the storm, you have to be very mindful of that. Bandwidth, power failures, those requires crunching. So the more nimble you keep the simple system, that's easy going. You can take that and do the model. That's why the model can be in the Chris Hazard, but in the nimble system that works with the least bandwidth, least power consumption, that one you want to work. And that's why we moduled it, right? And then we can build it back to the model. So modeling, like I showed you the movie that my student Alec is actually building, that's the flood model based on the camera, right? But it's a very huge, I show you the animation, so we know that in Bartlett Park, Salt Creek data, Salt Creek camera, we showed it to you, but that in the middle of the storm is not practical, right? Middle of the storm, you want to have a system that's nimble, and then you can do all the fancy things afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Okay, all right, that's worthwhile information. I guess my next question is about community involvement. There was examples of how it's been used, the community involvement, but I don't know, what's the overarching vision, I guess, for community involvement in this system? Like, is it that we have a lot of neighbors tracking data, sharing information with people across the whole city? How's the city plug into that itself? I don't know, just a little more overarching vision is what I'm thinking about right now.
So let me take to that one, because we started doing ICAR and way back, and one of the things is that it has to be two-way communications with the city. One is that get the city data, but then get the resources back. It cannot be just I'm coming and taking and walking away, right? So the thing about this CRIS, that one I built initially in 2019, allows that two-way communications, right? It also allows for informed data-driven advocacy. So the only way a neighborhood knows what they do not have when they see what the other neighborhood has, right? So we opened it all up to the public in a transparency and also to everybody who wants to see it. Now, to answer your question, the overarching things is that we not only get the information from them through the apps, we also take resources back. So if you go through the Storm Squad website, we organize community engagement events where we actually bring in various resources that are available to the community, including free legal services. The community we selected, those initial community, for example, those communities have something called heir properties, which means you do not have the title on your name and you're living in this community for a long time. But when the disaster happens, you cannot claim anything because title is not on your name. So there are things they have to do, right? So I actually take, through the Storm Squad Town Hall, we bring in the free legal services that actually helps them clean those up, because in the middle of the storm, when your documents get flooded, that is not the time you think about those things, right? You have to think when it's a blue sky. What documents do you need to support your claim as an heir property so you can get the name on it, right? So the family Bible, for example, you have to take it, evacuate it with that, so you can actually work on it. So there are a lot of resources. We also bring in the disaster recovery resources, right? Long-term care resources, and also long-term recovery resources. So those are the things we do with the community. And you can go through our agenda. Those are all public. Anything I do, it's all public, because I'm always publicly funded federally, but yes, right? So you can go back and look at the agenda and you pictures what we have done with the events, and we bring in a lot more resources to the community. So the knowledge is power. And the more you know, the better you can prepare, the easy for you to recover and be resilient. And that's what we are constantly bringing into them, the power, the knowledge. That's our overarching goal, not just to take things from them. Of course, if they give it to them, I aggregate the data, I give it back to them. Like the survey data, Ms. Hull showed it to you, those are aggregated data from the community survey available to them. They can actually see what is happening in their neighborhood, and they can compare, wait, what is happening into that neighborhood?
And in addition, if I could just add to your point further, the ambassadors from these neighborhoods are residents that live in Bartlett Park, Harbordale, like Angel, Childs Park, Jordan Park, Campbell Park. So each one of those ambassadors, they're the liaison between their neighbors and the Storm Squad. So they bring the needs of the neighbors to the Storm Squad, because as she always says, we don't live in those neighborhoods. Your neighbors know best what their neighbors need. So that's why we train our ambassadors and our storm captains to be able to be that liaison between their communities, and then bring the needs to us as far as what those communities need.
And also what I always envision this when we started doing this for ICAR is that it's like a phone tree, right? Years and years back, after Irma, there was a blue tarp. So military came in to put blue tarp. And the county had the blue tarp, and the people to put blue tarp, they did not know which house needs blue tarp, right? So resources can only be distributed when the needs are not hidden. So the point of the CRIS that I built in 2019 to address that hidden needs, right? Because the blue tarp people, they do not know which house needs blue tarp, so they could not distribute them, right? So that's a problem. So if you can figure it out, those needs, and you can connect that community need via storm captain to the emergency officials, then you're creating a two-way communication. Now, for example, Mary at the county office knows who to contact. If she has the resources, she knows to call Angel. That's how she got the resources that Harbordale got, right? The same time they knew how to who called Rebecca, for example, in Child's Park. And Rebecca also know who to call. And this connection is really powerful because knowing who to call when you need something is power. And that's really important. That's social capital. And that's what we're trying to build.
And the tablets that we use, we've trained the ambassadors to upload the flooding. That's how a lot of the data is entered, because these ambassadors in these neighborhoods, we've trained them many times to use the tablets and how to upload the actual pictures to Chris. So that's how, to your point, literally hyper-local neighbors actually participating in saving their neighbors. So that's how the community itself really embraces what we're doing. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, I appreciate it very much. That's all I had. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, committee members and council members, for all of your, I guess, curiosity and advocacy for how we continue to move this project forward, how we can integrate this more into our city. This has been a very long time coming again, back to 2019. I feel like, you know, in those days, we were kind of on a little bit of an upswing of some proactive measures regarding resiliency, right? And then COVID happens, other things happen, and here we are now, 18 months or so after 2 back-to-back storms, and we need to get back to a place where we are being proactive and not just reactionary to what happened to us in those events. It does not escape me that you had a picture there from Hermine in 2017.
Correct.
We know that this has been an issue in our city.
Correct.
It is our challenge to figure out how to prioritize, but most importantly, how to work with our community, because to your point, Erica, resiliency is not just the city improving infrastructure. Very important, required. It is our job. But resiliency and becoming a resilient city looks like working with our community and with our stakeholders like yourselves and bringing that knowledge that becomes that power to become resilient. And so I just am so grateful for both of you that you have never given up on this dream of being a resilient city, that you believe in the power of the people here in this city to enact change, because that's where it all starts. One of the questions that came to me that I'm not sure why I hadn't thought of before, maybe it was something that you said as you were presenting it, was, kind of after the storms, that data and understanding the impacts on specifically our infrastructure, but then something that kind of led down a thought path for me. And this would maybe be a follow-up conversation with administration and with, Maven and all the work that you'll all do moving forward. Is there a way that these cameras could be useful to our team after a storm for damage assessment?
Correct.
For damage assessment that is more accurate, that is more targeted, that is easier on our staff, because we all know the drain on our staff being out driving around, just trying to figure out,
and that's why we do what we do, to help the staff, to help Pinellas County Emergency Management, to help before they get there. We've done as much as we could do locally, neighborhood level, to assist you all when you do arrive.
We don't have to recreate that process. And I think that many of the people that were doing that process would say there has to be a better way. And I think that integrating this technology into our response systems could be really powerful. Our budgets are tight. They are getting tighter. We are not going to be able to hire a large amount of staff to stand by and wait for another disaster to come. We're going to have to find ways to augment.
Correct. To that point, for example, the app, and earlier I think this gentleman mentioned in terms of how to market it. If people knows how to upload the pictures, right, that becomes a really, really powerful tool. Then we can extract the flood height from it because you can see it, and we have an AI machine to do it. Now, one of the newer proposal that we have now, I think my job is to think up things that no one thought about it, right? One of the things we are going to integrate all of the ring cameras that they have to extract the flood height. Right, that's one of the current proposal is sitting there at the NSF, and then send it to geofence it back to the community and tell them, look, this is the water height that we are currently saying, because once you evacuate, you cannot upload pictures through the app, right? So, they can upload the pictures of their ring camera when they come back, right? And then we can actually backtrack the flooding of it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things we are in the process of doing. That proposal is being evaluated, but so we are. So to answer your question, this app can actually alleviate a lot of field work or complement it, right?
Yeah.
Complement it in terms of the static camera can give you the flood height and also the app data, which actually also evaluated against rainfall and tide data. We do not put that in the dashboard unless I check them, right? I don't want people to upload a picture of a cat, call it flood, right? So I have lots of checks in the process before it goes to the dashboard.
Well, and you talked also about how AI works on the back end for that data verification, which is, I mean, anyone who went to the EDC yesterday and heard all about AI and, you know, how that is going to be really changing everything that we do. The city has to embrace that, and I think that this is a really great way to integrate some of that technology as well. The other question that I had, and it kind of goes a little bit to Vice Chair Floyd about like kind of that notification system, and you talked about like the geofencing. I think that is a phenomenal end goal. But I'm curious, and I hope Chair Hanowitz is listening, because she has talked before about wanting to be able to do the same thing Councilmember Driscoll said. If I'm at home and I see that the streets are flooding, or if I'm at work and I need to get home, is there a place I can check? Is there the possibility that you could build additional tools into the app where maybe you save your favorite cameras, and then when it reaches a certain height, then you get a notification? It's a little bit different than the geofencing, maybe doesn't take as much bandwidth as, you know, hitting every phone. We'd like to get there, but maybe in the interim, if there's a way to kind of star the camera and then get notifications.
I will look into that. So that's not a problem. I will be able to look into that and let you know what is that we have to do on the current setup. But you can get the same thing from the app. You don't have to go to the static camera. If the people know to upload the app, just like police reported ahead that Waze does, all you have to app it, and that's ready. That's available. People have to know to use it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's already existing. But now, when it goes, that app data goes to the dashboard, it already includes the nearest camera. But if you want me to inform people about their local camera, they can bookmark. Obviously, they can go to the current platform and bookmark it. But I can figure it out how the water is rising. That information, we can parse it and send it to you. That will require some technological things, because we can look into that. Right? But what you just suggested, someone wanted, it's already can be done through the app. App can tell whether it's flooded, not flooded, water receded. They can upload the pictures of that area.
Perfect.
Right? And if everybody does along the same street, you will see how the water is receding, how the water is flooding. So it's about marketing. People need to know that.
Yes. Well, and that is actually my last question. And this is for administration. So I feel like there's a couple of asks here. We have talked about this, we'll say $20,000, not $18,475. $20,000 that we need for the Wi-Fi to continue to be able to have this service. So I'd like to see what that looks like. Essentially, I'm planning on just bringing you all back after you've been able to work more with staff later on, you know, maybe in the summer, later summer, so that we can kind of get some follow-up on this stuff. Talking, you know, obviously getting Brajesh more engaged. I know he's familiar, but just kind of learning more about that. But I feel like there's an opportunity once rainy season comes, specifically for us to be able to boost this. I don't know what that looks like without a formal agreement, so leave that to administration, but it would be my request that we find ways to social boost this, add this into the utility billing, put this as many places as we possibly can so that people know to utilize it, because it is my intention as a council member that there is some collaboration and partnership that is real, that moves forward from this conversation, that actually helps us be able to support this in a way that you all just don't have the infrastructure to do. We do. We are connected. We just talked about neighborhoods this morning in YFS, right? Like, we connect with our neighborhoods every single day. We connect with our neighborhoods every day. So I am hopeful that in a continued conversation, administration will be able to bring back something that will share with us how there's going to be an educational plan around this.
Thank you, Committee Chair. We're happy to have some follow-up meetings, both on the engineering and technical side and the marketing side. And
Perfect.
We're happy to come back on a future meeting.
I appreciate that. Yes, and we'll do last thought because we are running over, but
Thank
that's okay.
you. Do you think that if a neighborhood that doesn't have cameras wants them, is there a path to having this eligible for a neighborhood partnership grant?
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. There's a history of discussions related to cameras, both on private property and the right-of-way, that has to do with some legal issues related to cameras. So we'd be open to that, but there are some things we'd have to look at.
Yeah, so because that would be a capital expense, so on its face, it seems like something that might be eligible. And I could see the match of volunteer hours, which is one of the ways to match the grant, to be the community engagement in this. Could be one way to do the match. So it really gives the neighborhood like real that
We
sort
can
of
certainly
sweat
take a look
equity,
at it,
if you
yeah.
will.
Yeah, it's a creative idea. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, so like if Coquina Key Neighborhood Association wanted to put one at each bridge and then one in the park facing the kayak launch, so you can see when Big Bayou is starting to flood the park. They might want to they could apply for a grant and then match it by participating and getting the word out. And I mean, I could totally see that being an attractive project for a neighborhood. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a way to pay for it, right? So.
We thank you all so much for
Absolutely. Thank
This is
you.
amazing. We appreciate the support.
Well, we are certainly going to have you back. Look forward to seeing, and I can work with Maven as well on making sure, that we can continue these conversations offline. For those in Riviera Bay that are listening who are interested in where these two cameras are going to go, we have discussed doing it at the Sunlit Cove boat ramp and then also on 83rd at the Knife Gate pilot project to complement the infrastructure that the city is working on as well. So I know I got a text from somebody, where are those cameras going? So that's where they're going. And we will work to try to get more as we can. So with that, thank you, committee. Thank you for the amazing presentation and to everyone who came today. And we will call meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll start layer at 11:25.
The waterfront view is my favorite part about living right here in St. Pete.
Sounds of the water, the sounds of different species of birds. I find it very soothing and relaxing.
Everybody ride good? How you feel?
Yeah, I feel good. It's like a perfect day for it.
You see the pelican? Yeah, he's fishing for some fish too. Say yay, fishing!
So a gentleman by the name of Percy Fansler had an idea of using an airplane, because back then flight was basically just a novelty, right? So a lot of air shows and stuff like that, so that he had an idea of flying from point A to point B on a schedule, just like a train. Unheard of, but who the heck would do that? Nobody was gonna fly on a plane when you had a good old train. They arranged for Thomas Benoit and his airboat company to come to St. Petersburg. Roger and Tony Janis came with them, their chief pilot and mechanic / engineers. January 1st, 1914, they pushed that bad boy, that Benoit airboat, into the water, and 22 and a half minutes later, landed in Tampa in the world's first commercial airline flight. Would you have flown in that plane?
I believe I would have. I think I would have.
This is our first City Hall on tour for 2024. We're here at Pinellas Technical College, and it's an opportunity for the community to talk to any of our departments, from sanitation to codes to law enforcement, police, or fire, about our community, about their recommendations, their concerns, and get feedback on the spot.
Community folks who are where you're at. The City Hall on Tour is designed to put you in spaces where people live in real time.
It's also a focus on education and career paths, and that's why we're here at Pinellas Technical College. They're a great partner with us. You heard about the Mayor's Future Ready Academy, where we have 12 young people who are going through on-the-job training in various city departments like sanitation and public works.
For our Future Ready Academy, we really consist of going through each department through the city and then learning new experiences through each department and what each department consists of. So you kind of get a win-win in each opportunity. So it's kind of a lot through each department. You get to learn a lot.
We look at the city of St. Petersburg, from the historic gas plant to all of the housing developments that are going on, corridor development. Most of those are driven by the trades. Plumbers, electricians, craftsmen of all kinds.
It's also a focus this year on careers and getting folks connected to career paths. We try to have these around the city. We had 4 last year. This year we'll have 3 and another one dedicated to youth. That's how we all move forward together.
Everybody wants to know what the future holds for 620. And I'd have to say, first and foremost, my job and my duty is to make sure that we continue to reflect the entire community. I think that what I am introducing to the world is how I see art and the stories in which I want to celebrate in the community. And so what we do will probably remain the same. How we do it is the thing that shifts a little bit, right? And the stories that we choose to tell. I want when people leave here, they're like, wow, that was a great story. Or continue to, what's going on at the studio? Because, it's Friday night and I want to do something. Let me go check it out. I really want that to be the thing. The studio becomes the place.
I think the validation is, the answer is yes. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. And yes, we did.
The future is bright.
Why not? I'm illuminated that you have accepted this assignment.
I'm excited about the assignment. I don't take it for granted. I don't think it's gonna be super easy, but I know it's going to be challenging in the way I like to be challenged.
Yes, and if it wasn't, you wouldn't have taken it.
I wouldn't have taken it.
So, I think it's one of those things, and this is what fortune looks like, or good fortune smells like and tastes like. You're coming in, and you meet right at that point where it's this makes complete sense.
To address St. Pete's growth and rising housing costs, Mayor Welsh launched the Housing Opportunities for All plan in April of 2023. It is a multi-year plan that will help residents settle, stay, and feel stable in St. Pete. Housing affordability is a key element in Mayor Ken Welsh and his team's agenda, and one of his 5 pillars for progress. The next milestone in the Housing Opportunities for All plan is the citywide expansion of the Rebates for Affordable Residential Rehabs program, previously only offered in the South St. Pete CRA. The program provides rebates to eligible homeowners to make improvements to their properties, making it easier to stay in their homes. Examples of potential improvements covered by rebates are structural repairs, roof replacement, electric and plumbing upgrades, window and door replacement, HVAC replacement, insulation upgrades, kitchen and bath upgrades, and accessory dwelling unit construction. For more information on qualifications and how to apply, visit stpete.org/home rebates. The American Rescue Plan Act provides relief funds to governments negatively affected by COVID-19. The City of St. Petersburg has received about $45 million in the ARPA funds for investment and have identified key projects that will directly impact St. Pete residents, focusing 75% of funds on affordable housing and support, and 25% of funds on health and social equity efforts. These projects also fall within Mayor Ken Welsh's 5 pillars of progress: housing opportunities for all, neighborhood health and safety, equitable development, arts and business opportunities, education and youth opportunities, environment, infrastructure, and resilience. So, what happens next? We plan to spend ARPA funds in the following categories: $34 million for housing affordability and support, and $11 million for health and social equity. Here's a closer look at the plan. To address the affordable housing crisis in the city, 75% of the ARPA funds will be allocated to affordable housing and support. The city received the Housing Champion Award from the Florida Housing Coalition, which recognizes the city for dedicating the highest percentage of COVID-19 state and local fiscal recovery funds from the ARPA to affordable housing. What might that housing assistance look like? Financial assistance toward things like new housing units, shelters for families in need, and additional supportive services. With the rest of the funds, the plan addresses mental health challenges and food insecurity. 25% of the ARPA funds will be used to develop projects that treat root causes of these conditions and situations. Things like food security programs, mental health counseling, youth development and nonprofit funding, and other neighborhood services. For more information about the city's use of ARPA funds, visit stp.org/ARPA.
Camp Ignite is a 3-day program where aspiring female youth between the ages of 13 and 18 are able to come to fire rescue and experience what it's like to be a firefighter.
The girls will be learning a lot of hands-on skills within the fire department. They'll learn about the importance of teamwork and mentorships and building lasting relationships.
18 Sparks, together we ignite!
We want to leave a lasting impression so that when it is time to figure out what their career is, they keep in mind that St. Petersburg Fire Rescue is here.
Last year, we provided opportunities for about 12 campers. This year, we were able to expand that capacity and actually double those numbers through continued partnership with Pinellas County Urban League, partnership with Parks and Rec, and our local union, Local 747.
This type of program is important for us in the community and the city. I want the girls to be enlightened about all of the opportunities that they have available to them here in our city, that the Urban League is there to support them in ways that they could not imagine, to make a selection that best fits what they want to do with their future.
Growing up, you don't see female firefighters as much as you see the males. So to see a female doing this is great for girls. So I think this is an excellent opportunity for young females to get involved and see what they can do.
It's very rewarding to see children get excited about our job. So being able to mentor those individuals in the right direction and stress the importance of physical fitness, nutrition, and establishing mentors is huge.
We want to make sure that we are getting the best. And this is an opportunity for them, if they do decide to become firefighters, they can be local heroes. And this is a great career. And we want to make sure that we continue down this path of ensuring that we provide the opportunities for them.
Camp Ignite is being a firefighter.
They're just giving us new experiences of what the firefighters actually do.
They're trying to inspire young girls to want to try and be firefighters. I think my favorite thing to do was probably saving the baby, and you have to like go through the smoke and crawl on your knees to try and find the baby. I think that was pretty fun. I really liked going up in the ladder truck because they took us like all the way up. It was like 100 feet. It was really fun.
My favorite thing was when we went in an ambulance, we got a thing on the radio that said there was an alligator attack. It was like cool to feel like the adrenaline and try to like save them.
It's inspiring to see females doing firefighting because like when they do it, it means that I can do it too, and so many other women can too.
They have taught us a lot, and they have brought different perspectives of being a female firefighter to us.
Girls feel like that they can't accomplish the same things as men just because of the standard. But really, there's like some really strong women out here, and it just inspires you to do what you think you can do. I think they are all amazing women, and they do such a hard job. And I think it's very inspiring, and it really encourages like girls like me to really like want to join this force.
18 sparks, together we ignite.
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 I think a lot of people don't realize how long we've been together and how long I have been working within the studio. Like, just because they don't see me all the time doesn't mean that I haven't been integral to the studio and that you haven't been integral to my life. You've been my mentor here since 2008, and I love this space. And this is my home. And as a filmmaker, because I am a filmmaker, we always have this thing called our passion project. Like, this is the film that I have to make before I die. I'll spend all my money to make it. Like, it's one of those types of things. And I sat back one day and I started thinking, do I have that project as a filmmaker? And that project for me was the studio. I knew I wanted it with all my being and fiber and love to lead this organization, to pour back into this organization that poured into me.
You want to actually give back without even saying, I'm giving back. It's just, Oprah calls it a full circle moment. Yeah. And I just knew, and the Board of Trustees knew, that you would be a good steward of this assignment.
But also, you are still going to be a guiding light for me. You're still going to be a mentor.
It's just a natural progression, and that you were around all these years to take over. The nuance of this place is simply, well, I've distilled it to the answer is always yes.
Always yes.
Because that affirms we're gonna do this.
My name is Dominic Colangelo. I am the ground maintenance here for Treasure Island, City of St. Pete. And essentially I make sure this place stays, up and running, clean, help with any little things that may go wrong. When I come to work, the first thing I do is I blow the sand, leaves off the deck, kind of clean it up over there. And then after all that's said and done, go down to the beach, make sure everything's all picked up over there, rake the area, make sure it's nice and clean. It's the start of my day. I really do enjoy my job. I get to hang out at the beach all day, meet some interesting people. It's cool. I've had a couple of people come up and they didn't realize this was owned by the City of St. Pete, so we kind of give them the story about it. Mayor John Brown donated this property to the City of St. Pete, and it was basically for the residents, for their families to come to enjoy the amenities that we had here, like the restrooms, the indoor showers, playgrounds. So he donated that for the community. Today's a beautiful day. I love feeling the wind. I love looking at the water when I drive around. It's kind of peaceful. It's kind of like I'm just by myself, getting the job done, but it doesn't feel like work. I like the freedom. I like being out by the water. It's always a beautiful day, and it's something a lot of people don't get to do.
Food has always been a passion of mine. My passion from food comes from my grandfather. It was really just born out of the fact that I believe that he wanted to show us the world, and he did that through everyone's different cuisines. So like we would have really elaborate holiday parties, and we would have like Thanksgivings would be all designated towards like a different country, and he wanted to introduce us to that country, and it was through their food. So one of the things, we had a Japanese spread. I was not vegan at that point, but just the art of the cuisine, I was able to like eat with my eyes, and it just made me fall in love with sushi. When I went vegan, I realized I couldn't have sushi anymore. So it kind of started with a cookbook, and I did a pop-up, and then we were sold out, and then I kind of just went from there. I just did pop-ups, markets, and festivals, and I started delivering sushi to people's houses, and it kind of just caught on. I thought to myself, it would be nice to have a place, like a home base, for everyone to come to me, and then also, again, give vegans the experience of what sushi is. Being in St. Pete, I feel like everything is happening on Central. I feel like Central is where a lot of businesses want to be. On a normal day, we would go through 4 pots of rice, and that was like a great day. And now coming to the new space, like we're going through like 8, 9, 10 pots of rice in one night, which is like, for us, is crazy.
So, Bobby, how has St. Pete's history influenced you as a creative, as an artist?
Well, 2 things. When we still lived in the 1-bedroom apartment, my mother was going off to work. She worked as a domestic. She was taking the bus, and she was leaving out the door, and then she turned around and she said, "You know, Bobby," she called me Bobby. She said, and she put her hand on my face and said, "We must stay in our place." And I didn't even think I understood what she meant. I've later come to understand, she said, he's an inquisitive, investigative child, and he might get into situations he is not equipped to handle. Mm. Growing up in Southern California, it wasn't as quite precious as it was in the South, but my parents are both from the South, and all of my plays, virtually 90% of them, are set in the South, even before I ever set foot in the Southern United States. And I think history informs your granddaddy, your grandmother, your auntie, your uncle, and it informs your parents. And even if they are not from the South. So one of the things that having a creative life, Live Arts Peninsula Foundation, who presented Web City, I was doing Uncle Ben's, a home cooking Negro narrative at American Stage, and they came up to me after one of the performances and said, "We'd like you to write a musical about the Manhattan Casino." In writing that, Bill Leffingett and myself interviewed dozens of people, and I learned a lot about the city by interviewing people. Was started by Elder Jordan, and there are many stories in the Naked City, and these are 5 dozen of them. And it just started me and dovetailed with me already being interested in history and finding out the particular history of this community.
First storm that came through, we actually got 5.5 feet, almost 6 feet of storm surge. It did submerge my garage completely, and it was white capping into my neighbors' homes. I was very blessed and fortunate. Yes, I had to replace the roof, I had to redo the garage and the electrical, but that's nothing compared to the neighbors that were displaced. Being able to stand there and say, you work on your home, I'll work on the street, I'll work on the neighborhood, I'll work on the community for you, I think has been really beneficial. I think the city's finally taken it seriously. In 5 years, we are going to get very much needed infrastructure, at least in this area. And in the meantime, the city's working to do smaller projects. So I'm working with the Alley Works director, and we're going to start redoing some of the alleys in the area, which will definitely help with the grading of the stormwater. I will say the community here is phenomenal. Hey, Eugene, how you doing? All right, sounds good. I don't want my community or my street to achieve better without helping the street next to us. We're all in this together, so I think that's something to remember, just kindness, and I think that's why we've been able to get this small little neighborhood on the map for future improvements.
District 3 spans parts of eastern and northeastern St. Pete, bordered to the east by Tampa Bay It's a slice of everything that makes St. Pete special. Vibrant neighborhoods, convenient city amenities, and abundant access to nature. Hi, I'm Mike Harding, your City Council member for District 3. Here in District 3, we have 18 parks, including Shore Acres Mini Park, where I'm standing today. From intimate neighborhood spaces, like this one, to larger destinations like Fossil Park, there's something for everyone. Want to visit Willis S. Johns Rec Center? Got it. Pickleball courts? Absolutely. Skate park? Check. And yes, there's a pool too. We're also home to the newest rec center in the city, Shore Acres Rec Center, with 6 swimming pool lanes, 2 diving boards, and spaces for community gatherings. It's become a central hub for the neighborhood. Looking for golf lessons or just a place to hit a bucket of balls? Visit Mangrove Bay Golf Course, where you'll find a full pro shop and the Cypress Links Par 3 course right next door. But what I love most about District 3 are the neighborhoods. I grew up right here in Shore Acres, spending my grass cutting money at an arcade and pizza joint where LCC's middle school campus now stands. Shore Acres is a tranquil waterfront community. Like its neighbor Snell Isle, it's just 5 minutes from the buzz of downtown, but feels worlds apart. Drive 5 minutes west and you'll wind through the hilly, tree-lined streets of Allendale. Hard to believe you're still in St. Pete. District 3 is also packed with amenities. We've got a boat ramp, 2 fire stations, a library, a water plant, a brush site, and 25 bridges. Sports organizations like Northeast Little League and the St. Pete Raiders Soccer Club are woven into our community. And yes, you'll find me refereeing youth soccer on the weekends. That's what District 3 is all about. Family-friendly neighborhoods, plenty of outdoor space, and top-notch city services. It's where I grew up, and it's where my wife and I raise our daughters today.
Last year, Milton was really, really bad. Even though I wasn't home, I know there was Milton damage almost everywhere. I wasn't really sure of, the condition of my roof. To find out that yes, there was damage, I let my insurance company know what happened. So I did the paperwork with them. They were able to help me, like half of what the cost was. I say, well, I don't think this is enough money to fix my roof. That was really a terrible feeling because I'm thinking, okay, finding out that I was only going to get half of what the damage cost, I said, oh, wow. I just feel kind of devastated because I say, there's no way I can afford it. I heard on the news that the city of St. Pete had funds for Milton's damage for homeowners. So I thought, oh, wow, well, this is an answer to my prayers because I didn't know which way to go. So then I applied to the city of St. Pete, and the process was wonderful. Before you know it, they say, yes, you're approved, so they started the process on getting my roof done. I'm just very thankful for all the work that the city is doing in not only my situation, but everyone else, and that makes the everyone to kind of love St. Pete because it's such a good city. It's been a blessing to me and my family, and I'm very thankful for.
When I decided to transition and retire, and you had told me if I ever retire, you would like to throw your hat in the ring. And I said, there is no ring. And then I turned it over to the Board of Trustees, but I did give them this 411. Erica is an intelligent, credentialed person, working artist, but she's an artist. And I think that's important. And whatever degree of difference that is, how an artist approaches the thing, that's what I wanted. And you went through the process, and that's what the board agreed on. The future is always bright, but under your tutelage, it's gonna be delicious.
I thank you for that.
No, because, my generation, the baby boomers, we don't tend to get off the stage. You got to get the hook. Oh, there's always one other thing we can do. And I'm looking forward to that, seeing what's next.
I think we talked about it before, we have the same sentiment about the space and what our job is. My job is to maintain the heartbeat that has already been created in this space. I am not here to alter the heartbeat. I'm here to take this heartbeat and strengthen it and bring a bigger light so that the world can see it as much as I can, and to take that to whatever that next level is.
Well, as I told the Board of Trustees, we're getting an A+ candidate that you would normally have to scour nationally. And then she has the added thing of she knows this community and the community knows her.
I'm walking in the footsteps of a founder of an organization that is beloved, but I know that I gotta try it, and I know that we can do it.
My name is Sylvia Rosario. I am the first Hispanic, Latina, female chief plant operator for the city of St. Petersburg. You don't wake up wanting to be a chief plant operator or a wastewater operator. This is a job that you are either born into, your parents did it, or maybe a family member did it, or it falls out of the sky for you. It fell out of the sky for me. I was a nail tech, and I came to my wastewater interview with beautiful long nails, fancy hair, all the makeup, and the operators and the team behind the table, they looked and they were like, what is she thinking? We sat down, we had a great conversation, they had confidence in me, and it happened. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. This is crazy. The change is so big. I decided to go for it. I figured, I had 4 sons at the time, and they deserved better. I looked up to my mother. She also was a single mother. We were living in New York, in the Bronx. She went back to Puerto Rico with me, where I went to school, went to high school, some college. I looked up to her, and she was always so proud of anything I did. That was very encouraging to me, to see that no matter what, how simple something I did, she was always a big cheerleader. 2 of my sisters were older than me, and they also were accomplished. So I had that to look up to. So I had a lot of females to look up to. Of course, my favorite color is pink. This is a very male-dominated field. I want to say I've met 4 to 5 females operators. So I always keep my office as girly as I can, because I tell the guys I am part of this team, but I'm still a girl. I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm very proud to work for the city. I'm very proud of what we do. I'm proud of the water we put out. We do it for the environment. We do it for our children, for your children, for our families, for the families out there. You have to be driven in life. There has to be a goal, and there has to be a reason. There will be obstacles, but you have to be the person sitting back figuring out how you're going to approach those obstacles and how you're going